Northern Ireland, the UK, I mean, pretty much Europe is sick and tired of the immigration that's been going on. And these protests are they're getting out of hand, one could say. So let's get into it. Even Conor McGregor is leading the charge on anti-immigration. I mean, the guy is saying, hey, you got to get these people out of here. Horrible Conor McGregor accent, but let's get into the video, shall we?
Send them home! Send them home! Send them home!
I think most of the world feels that way too.
It's gotten so bad in the UK, they're arresting bins.
Arrest that bin.
Arrest that bin.
Save the bins.
Wingardium Leviosa to the bin. So, I think there's a group of masked men, like on camera, that have been going around and burning cars,
oh my god,
burning homes. People are fed up.
Oh my god.
Simply put, people are fed up.
I'm getting hammered tonight.
Goodness. I mean, once your own kind are in the streets getting brutally hunted down, and the politicians and police do nothing about it, this is kind of the tipping point, right? Wow.
Look at them cars, look.
In those small alleys, man, those police and first responders stand no chance. Here they go, trying to put out the, oh my God, that's a fire inside. Oh my goodness. Yeah, people have reached their tipping point, man. People have reached their tipping point. Like, at what point does it become too much? One could argue, at what point do you start to cut back on immigration, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Rioters are throwing Molotov cocktails. Oh, he caught himself on fire a little bit. They're throwing Molotov cocktails at police, at ambulance, at first responders. Yeah. People in the UK are pissed, man. They are, they are not happy. So you've got hundreds of people in the streets now, fully masked, and they are, if I'm not mistaken, hunting down specifically migrants. Like, this might be migrant housing. And they're trying to intimidate the migrants to leave. It's unfortunate that it's gotten to this point, to be honest, but again, tipping point, right? Like, the amount of English people, of Irish people that have been, you know, just straight up brutally murdered by migrants, by foreigners in Ireland, in the UK it's a tipping point, and people are fed up. So they're actually doing something about it. They're actually standing up and doing something about it. So Tommy Robinson is sharing this footage here of police in Belfast have come out in some force tonight as armored Land Rovers and water cannons are used in hope they subdue the anger of local people. People are so angry, I'm not at all convinced this will work. And you can see here, they've got fire trucks and they're about to use the hose right here, probably to put this out. People are pissed, man. People are pissed. It's kind of surprising that it's only getting to this point right now. If I'm being totally honest, I'm not advocating for it to escalate, but people have every single right to be angry. Those emotions, I mean, the entire world can feel this, right? In other countries, other third world countries, if the things that are happening in the UK or in America were happening in these third world countries, there would be literal blood on the street, like on the first day. So the amount of patience and resilience that locals have had for it to just be getting to this point right now is, I mean, it shows that they have had hope that the system would fix itself, and the system hasn't, unfortunately. And so now you're seeing people actually do something about it. Here you got more, it looks like helicopter footage of Belfast. You've got a police camp right there. They're going over, their patrol itinerary, the do's and don'ts, what type of engagement they're allowed to do, their communications going. It looks like maybe there's some protesters on that bridge right there. That was another thing too, that protesters were actually creating checkpoints and checking that if people were migrants or not and turning away migrants. Because, the police aren't doing nothing. They're not doing nothing. The politicians aren't doing nothing. And so you have an entire population now that they're sick and tired of their own kind being brutally murdered and attacked in the streets. Don't you think you would get to this point too if these things were happening in your area? It's quite possible that a lot of people would. The media wants to call it radicalization. Elon Musk has said that this will only stop once more protests happen at a faster and a kind of aggressive rate. So here you got Conor McGregor saying ban all immigration from the third world immediately. And he's responding to the chief of police here, the police in Belfast.
The Secretary of State has said that the police service will give us the answers to these questions. And back to the visa situation, how did he get into Northern Ireland in the first place? Was it illegally or legally, and was it through the Republic of Ireland? And is that why there's a mix-up on his nationality? Is his visa something different from his birthplace?
Well, in terms of the nationality, you'll be aware this morning our belief was that the male was Somalian. That was from the very quick first look at our investigation. We now know him to be, or believe him to be, Sudanese. In terms of the broader question around the immigration status, I don't want to appear that I'm trying to deflect on this. I think it's absolutely right that the Home Office will give you further clarity on it. But again, working with them this morning, my understanding is that the individual came into Northern Ireland from Dublin, moving up, and then was granted leave to remain. But as I say, colleagues from the Home Office will be confirming that in more detail in due course.
That type of answer is kind of enough to start radicalizing people, right? That's gotten 25,000 likes on that social media post from Conor McGregor. And the top comment here is, be more like Poland.
Zero illegal migration equals zero terror attacks.
Hard to disagree with that. Hard to disagree with that. Ireland, rise up and take it back.
People of Ireland are rising. We are going to take back our country. We are taking our country back.
Sheesh. Sheesh. I got big or small, deport them all. People are fed up.
I'd encourage them to just keep on going. It's okay to want to defend your culture. It's okay to want to live in a safe neighborhood. It's okay to want your job to go to yourself and your neighbors and not to a stranger who you don't even know. It is reasonable for the people in Western societies to want to control who comes into their country and who doesn't.
Yeah, again, really hard to disagree with that. And it's unfortunate
Let's just watch.
that it's gotten to this point. But can you blame them? That's the big question. Can you blame people for getting to this point? It's no longer push to shove, right? Push comes to shove. It's more about you fight for what you believe in or you die in the streets.
Yeah, Graham, talk us through these pictures.
Yeah, they're very well used to using their armoured Land Rovers. They tend to either spread themselves across the street and drive up the street, or they'll literally filter into like a single file, as we saw in the images there, and work their way through the barricades. The metal crash barriers are no resistance really to an armoured Land Rover, and you can see one literally just drives into one there. But they will literally follow in line until they get to the end of the street, and then they'll form up again. But they are exceptionally experienced in using their vehicles almost like a moving cordon. We saw images earlier on where they lined the vehicles up across the road, drove them towards a crowd of people, with the police officers actually behind the vehicles, so using their armoured Land Rovers as almost like a barrier or a shield against the protesters ahead of them. So,
on the outskirts of North Belfast, several hundred people gathered at the Clockfern roundabout. After the speeches, 200 masked men broke away and marched into the White Abbey estate. The group then made its way along this road and stopped at this property here on Abbeyville Street. They proceeded to stone every window in the property and threw wheelie bins through the bottom windows. I spoke to a woman across the road. She said that the complex had been used to house asylum seekers and immigrants. She said that the whole ordeal of watching people come down this road and attack the house was terrifying. Off Belfast Newton Ards Road, it was a glider bus that was targeted. Set on fire, crowds gathered as smoke billowed across the east of the city.
They're going to burn it down.
Meters.
I can already sense where this is going, and unfortunately, they're going to burn it down unless they have a massive pivot in immigration laws in the near future, or the people here will absolutely burn it down.
The way 2 cars were set alight on McMaster Street. When it was not cars or buses, they chose burning bins to block the streets. On the Crumlin Road, more bins and more fires. Back at the Clockfern roundabout, the crowds returned. 2 burning cars now made the road impassable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can only go onto the sidewalk with a little piece of cardboard with Sharpie written on it saying, you know, stop immigration, stop immigration. I'm talking about like a protest, right? Like a nice little classic peaceful protest. There's only so long it feels like that you can do that before it gets to the next level. And that's only if the bad things keep happening. Like, how many times do you have to see your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad, right, die, get unalived in front of you in your own neighborhood before it gets to this level? And apparently they've reached their breaking point. They have reached their breaking point, right? And then here's Keir Starmer in the UK Parliament. Look at this, right? 3.1 thousand likes on his comment, or on his video from his account. 17,000 comments. People just are fed up with him.
People are rightly sickened by the horrific attack on Monday night in North Belfast. As you have just said, the man arrested has been in court in Belfast this morning and charged. I want to thank the Police Service of Northern Ireland and other first responders and members of the public who responded with such bravery. And our thoughts are with the victim. But let me be clear, Mr. Speaker. The acts of violence and arson that followed are totally unjustified. This morning I spoke with the First Minister, the Deputy First Minister and the Chief Constable.
I don't think people care, mate.
And the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland is meeting leaders in Belfast today. We are united in calling for calm and determined to restore order, support the police and all those on the front line, and ensure that justice is done.
Yeah, I think that people have heard enough talk and now they're taking matters into their own hands. And frankly, it's not a matter of whether this is right or wrong. The only question is, why did it take so long for it to get to this point, right? Why is this happening and where is this going next? And I don't think it's anywhere good. I don't think it's anywhere good, unfortunately.